beautiful, and welcome back to my channel. Y'all, we are doing our makeup, we are doing our hair, we are getting ready together today. While answering all of your questions, I asked on my Instagram, if you have any questions for me, drop them in the little answer box. And y'all, I had 20,000 views on that story. Y'all were asking me some questions, but I love it. I love talking with you. I love being vulnerable. I love being as transparent as possible with you. So that's honestly what we did today. I did my makeup. I didn't go through the products today. They will be down in the description. Like this video if I should just do like an in-depth makeup tutorial. We are about to go to a brand event, so that is what we're getting ready for. But I really loved answering all of your questions, and hopefully you learned some glow up secrets. You learned a little bit more about me, and like always, you leave this video being either inspired, learning something, or feeling a little bit safer within this community. But if this is your first time seeing my face, hello, my name is Jasmine. I create a lot of content on how to glow up, how to become your best self. So if that sounds like something you're looking for, if that's the community you're looking for, that's the content you like, go ahead, join the family. Would love to have you. I want you to comment this emoji down below so that I know that you're locked in. I also want to give a major shout out to today's sponsor. It is HomeGlow. So thank you so much, HomeGlow, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this community. Without further ado, let's us get into today's video. Okay, y'all, I got a lot of questions on home decor update. Y'all know I hired an interior designer, which like honestly, that I feel like moving to like Jersey was like one of my most like big girl things, and I feel like I wanted big girl furniture, I wanted a big girl place, and you know, I wanted stuff to last forever. So I'm really happy that one of kind of my like adult investments in life was my interior designer, because I love my furniture. I love how cohesive my apartment is coming together. I'm still working on the bathrooms. I'm moving with my boyfriend in about a year. So I'm like, do I want to add wallpaper to all of the bathrooms? I want to change the lighting because I film in my bathroom a lot. What do I want to do with the bathrooms? But y'all saw in my last video that when I did my most recent home decor update, that I filled in some of that kind of like empty space. So far I'm really happy with how my apartment is coming together, not only like filming wise, vibes wise, my environment. You know, I physically changed my environment on my glow journey, moving to Jersey City, moving closer to my boyfriend, moving closer to opportunity. And also I think like investing in my space has also like greatly improved my mood, my outset on things, my consistency, my productivity. Also really happy if y'all saw in my last, I think it was my last Glow Up Diaries or the Glow Up Diaries beforehand, that I had to try out a new Home Glow cleaner. I was slightly nervous because my Home Glow cleaner back in Atlanta, like we had like a good rapport going. Like it was super easy to find her, and then once I did, like we were just on like a monthly schedule. Y'all know I have the Forever Clean membership. They are the sponsor of today's video. Y'all know I've worked with them for a while. I'm really happy that Home Glow is sponsoring this community again. We love them over here. So thank you so much, Home Glow, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this community. I wanted to talk about them a little bit while I am doing my skin prep for my makeup. Like basically Home Glow is like the best way to find top rated cleaners in your area. It's a 5-star home service platform that makes keeping your home tidy and clean and neat really easy. I mean, when we're talking about grown women and decisions, it's definitely investing in things that take things off of your plate, things that give you a little bit more of your time, things that when you walk into your home or your apartment, yeah, you might have the furniture or whatever, but you don't feel as productive as when it is clean. And having someone help you out in that area like Home Glow is a game changer. It is a lifesaver. And I know I was using Home Glow for a while back in Atlanta, but I was just like y'all when I moved to Jersey City, had to find a new cleaner through Home Glow. So I went through this process again just to kind of test it out for you again if it was that easy. Honestly, I was able to instantly book a top-rated cleaner in my area. What you can do is you can go to homeglow.com/JazzTurner. It's going to get you your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. I'll also include the QR code right here. A really good discount because I have about 1,200 square feet. I have 2 levels, and my Home Glow cleaners the last time it cleaned my space in 2 hours. So if that was my first time using Home Glow, that was my first time signing up for the Forever Clean membership, that would have been entirely entire cleaning would have only been like $19. You're gonna wanna insert the day, the time, the duration of your clean, and from there you can see all available cleaners. And then you can look through photos, you can look through reviews, everything that you need to confidently book a top-rated cleaner in your area. And it is so easy. Book this for a special occasion, get on a schedule. Like me personally, I have the Forever Clean membership. Saves you even more money than that discount. And after the first cleaning, the membership pays for itself. And with a Forever Clean membership, that's gonna save you $30 an hour on all future cleanings. And you can book unlimited cleaning starting at just $19 an hour. And it's backed by Home & Glow's happiness guarantee, so you can feel good when you book. Again, I'm a very busy girl, so I am on the Forever Clean membership at the first of the month, but it's also really flexible, so sometimes I will adjust it to if I'm right about to go on vacation, so I can come to a nice, tidy, and clean home and I can get right back to work. And I will have all of that information down in my description. It is an amazing deal. homeglow.com/JazzTurner. That's gonna get you your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. And of course, I'll have the QR code like always. But I'm just finishing up with my sunscreen, about to go to my vanity, and let's get into some more of these questions. Okay, girl, welcome back. How do we like this background? Let me know down in the comments. Also, I know I mentioned this before. I'm not going to like list every single product because I want to get through a lot of these questions. But as always, these will be down in my description. And I'm getting ready for a brand event. So these are kind of like my long wearing, kind of more fuller face products. No natural beat here today. I have all the questions queued up on my phone. As you can see, there are a lot of them. And then I have the ones in my Instagram broadcast channel as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first question says, I loved your dating TikTok lives. What advice would you recommend for us single girls? It's so funny because I feel like my friends come to me for dating advice, probably because like I have the most stories of just like toxic men, what to do in this situation, what to do in that situation. I used to share them on TikTok Live. I don't do as many TikTok Lives anymore just because I'm a little bit more busy in the transition with the move and everything like that. And then plus I don't really create a lot of dating content because there's so much dating content out there. Like I want this to be a safe space for the girls. But what I will say is I'll give you the boring advice first. You have to date yourself first. And the reason I say date yourself, of course, it's great for emotional healing. It's great. It's great for our glow up journey. It's a way that we pour back into ourselves. But most importantly, I mean, you shouldn't glow up for a man. But if you want a partner in your life, you need to lead by example. If you are into men, men are not all the way there. They are visual learners. They're very visual. So if they see a woman pouring into herself emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, everything like that, a smart man will be like, I can't even step to that without adding to what she already kind of has going on in her life. More importantly, the frequency you send out to the universe, to the world, to your environment, when you start treating yourself well, and that doesn't mean, dropping a whole bunch of money on yourself. It's literally just, taking yourself out on those solo dates, treating yourself to a massage, eating right, getting in the gym, journaling, giving yourself positive affirmations, giving yourself compliments. Your environment responds to your frequency. Once you start to pour into yourself, your suitors adapt. They match that frequency, or they should. Now, if you find yourself like, I'm doing all this work on myself, like I'm doing it for myself, but I still want to share my life with somebody, it's probably your environment. Now, should you move to find a partner? No, but maybe you join a run club. Maybe you join, a reading club. Maybe you join a CrossFit gym. Maybe you join a gym. Maybe you just decide in general you want a change of pace and you move states or you move cities. Changing your environment is also inherently going to change the people that's in there. To meet someone, you actually have to go outside of your house, put yourself out there. And when you're already doing that work on yourself and you already kind of emit this kind of frequency, this kind of confidence, this kind of aura, you're placing yourself in environments to attract somebody that's like-minded. Even though this is long wearing makeup, I want to be so glowy today. Like I want to glow from the inside out today. So she's long wearing, but it's not going to be super, super heavy. I also recommend, and I said this on years ago on my TikTok lives, I made a list. I looked at all of the people that I've ever been involved with. This goes for situationships, sneaky links, long-term relationships, short-term relationships. And I made a list on my phone and I said, my husband is, or my partner is. And I took what I felt in those certain relationships, good and bad, and I put it in that notes list. And this is really powerful because you've already felt that emotion. It's not something, you know, just so far off. Like, you know, maybe you had like a little sneaky link, but you know, y'all had some really good dates. Like he was really good at planning dates. Like you might not have committed, but like you appreciated the dates that he did plan. It made you feel special. So you're gonna put in your notes app, like my husband plans thoughtful dates for me and I enjoy myself. Whenever you are making a list of any type of something that you're trying to bring into your life, it has to be deeply attached to gratitude, appreciation, and emotion. That's the fastest way it's gonna come into your life. That's exactly what I did for my boyfriend. And I looked at all of my relationships and I said, my husband and I have a similar type of humor. My husband plans dates for me. My husband is a dog person. My husband loves himself. He thinks highly of himself. My husband is ambitious and he works hard. These are all things that I had previously experienced in other situationships or whatever that just didn't work out, but I had felt that feeling before. And then a week later, my boyfriend DM'd me. Crazy. Someone said, how do I handle rejection? Whether it is romantic, business life-wise, whether you apply for an apartment or a home or a credit card, wherever it might be. First of all, I have not lowered my expectations in life, but I have always gone into every situation confronting the worst case scenario. You know, if I really care about something, a relationship, whatever, and I'm worried about it not working out, I'm worried about that rejection, I will literally go to my journal and I will write out a scenario in which that doesn't end up happening, and then what I will do in that situation to correct it. So, you know, if I go for a job and I'm really nervous that I might get rejected, I write down in my journal like, okay, what if this were to come to life? What if I did, you know, get rejected? What would happen? And you'll find once you write it out, it's never gonna be the end of the world. It's not gonna be the end of the world if he doesn't decide to date you. It's never gonna be the end of the world if you don't get that job. It's not gonna be the end of the world if you don't get that credit card. I think sometimes everything is in our head that we just need to write it out. The next thing is you have to reframe rejection into redirection. If you believe in God, you will know that everything is working out for you. You have an ordained purpose and path in your life. So every single rejection is actually a step to push you into the right direction. A lot of times obstacles and rejection is literally just signs of that we need to overcome something, that we might need to work harder on something. It is a part of our story and it should be a lesson. I think it's kind of unrealistic to be like, oh, like, don't mind like rejection, just like suck it up, that wasn't for you. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself feel, you know, that rejection. It's not human to push those feelings down or push those feelings aside. But what is this trying to teach you? What is this feeling that's coming up from rejection trying to teach you? And how can I use this in my story to help others, to teach myself, to propel myself to new heights? Every rejection is a redirection. I had like a whole bunch of kind of like basic questions. I guess I have a lot of new people to the page, but I'll just answer some very basic questions. I am 28 years old. My birthday is March 22nd, 1997. I am originally from the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. I lived out near Great America, if you're familiar. I have grown up in the suburbs my entire life before I went to Spelman College. In Spelman, I was an English major. I then went to law school, and then I went to business school. I went to Emory Law and Emory Goizueta School of Business, and I have been a full-time content creator for 3 years now. Someone said, do you need an aesthetically pleasing home/life/body to start social media? Absolutely not. That's the thing with social media and influencers and, you know, content creation life. We as humans crave authenticity. We crave to feel seen. We crave to feel validated. You know, is an aesthetically pleasing place going to get you some views? Yes. Is it going to get you community? No. You don't have to have an aesthetically pleasing life to have high quality, relatable content. Now, do you need to pick your clothes up off the ground? Do you need to maybe invest in a really good iPhone? Do you maybe need to buy like a little ring light for your camera for better lighting? Yeah, I think so. Whenever I see a low quality video, it makes me just kind of want to scroll past. Unless it's somebody talking about something really interesting and your content is kind of speaking for itself. It doesn't need to be aesthetically pleasing, but don't mistake aesthetically pleasing for not high quality and like you didn't put any effort into the content that you are putting out. Now, what I will say is I film a lot in my apartment. Everything that I film is in my apartment. You see this background right here. I care if things are aesthetically pleasing. I want you to click on my videos and I know that everything from the music, the candle in the background, what I'm wearing, how I'm speaking is all going to convey a certain tone, a certain story. But I also, this is like my full-time job. Like I of course care about that stuff because that directly affects my money, my engagement, my community, how it makes you feel. But just to start, no, you need a ring light, a good camera, have something interesting to talk about. It can literally just be you up against a white wall. Somebody said, what is my opinion on real estate, home ownership, thoughts, plans, timeline? I don't know if this sounds bad, but I have never until like later in my life imagined myself in a big home with a big yard and a white picket fence. I've never wanted that. I don't know. That's how I grew up. I grew up on a corner lot, you know, big house, suburbs. I've never wanted that. I am a true condo apartment girl. I love my amenities, and I know the whole rhetoric is like, but you own it, like it's cheaper, like all of this money, like, okay, yeah, when a boiler breaks and you have to spend $25,000, when a shingle is loose on your roof, when your washing machine goes out and you have to drop $5,000, like HOA fees, like I know that you own it. Like I know that you own it, and I don't, you know, knock anybody that wants that life. But just for me, it doesn't make sense. Now, does real estate make sense from an investment standpoint? Absolutely. I should definitely be looking at investment properties to either lease out, Airbnb, you know, just something like that. That should be in my plans. But moving into a home, like yard work, no. I remember in my house, nothing was ever fixed. Like something was always wrong. Again, whether it was a shingle missing, whether it was flooding, whether like the house was never, cabinets need to be upgraded. Like I don't want to deal with any of that. My washer machine goes out, God forbid, in my apartment. You know what it is? I put in a maintenance request and they come and bring a new one. Something's wrong with my shower head, I put in a maintenance request, they come. I have a pool, I have a soccer field, I have a basketball court, I have a sauna here. I personally love apartment life for me right now and for the foreseeable future. And that's why I'm so honestly blessed that my boyfriend and I are aligned on so many things. Like when we talk about real estate, when we talk about finances, when we talk about kids, like we're always just aligned. Like we would love to, you know, co-invest into something, you know, when we get married. I'm very happy that I have a partner that's very aligned financially and, you know, investment wise as me. Obviously I'm gonna have my own things. Obviously there's going to be a prenup, but you know, I think that is one of the benefits of true partnership, elevating in those kind of adult kind of aspects. Because you truly do have a partner there to help you, whether it be financially, emotionally, physically. I think that makes me really happy. Excited. Somebody said, how am I liking my K-tips? I've had my K-tips for 4 months. I am getting them taken out and put back in. I have absolutely loved my K-tips. I feel like this hairstyle was meant for me. I love how natural it looks. I love how I'm able to do different styles. I had somebody comment on my YouTube video and was just like going down. They're like, hey, like what hairstyle is this? Or is this like your natural hair? And I was like, they're K-tips. These were extremely expensive to get, but I haven't had my hair done or needed to have my hair done in 5 months, almost 5 months at this point. And they should last up to 6 months. I probably could make this last another month and a half, but I just want like fresh hair for the summertime. The confidence that I have felt getting these in is enough. for me. Like I don't know, I love the way that these make me feel. And she just moved to New York, so I don't even have to fly to Pittsburgh to like get my hair done. I've also, now that like my natural hair is out and not like sewed up into a sew-in, and I've like given my hair a chance to breathe, my hair has been growing and flourishing. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know when I'm gonna go back to sew-ins. I would be interested to see if I like micro links. I've tried micro links before back in the day, which is kind of similar. You can still like put your hair up and everything like that, do what you want to do. But obviously they're way cheaper and you have to get them done more often. So we'll see. But as of right now, 1000% K-tips are worth your money. Somebody said, do I edit all of my content on my own? All of my short form content, yes, I do edit all of that on my own. I film it all on my own. I film my short form content on just like my iPhone 16 Pro Max. I do this full time, so I always invest in the latest iPhone personally. But you definitely don't need to do that. Again, like I edit all of my own short form content. For YouTube, I film on a Sony ZV-E10, and this year I hired an editor, and she is absolutely amazing. Best investment ever. But I do still edit my own ads, so I'll send her all of like the raw footage, she'll send it back to me, and I will edit whatever ad is supposed to be inserted that week, just because like I have the content brief. You know, a lot of these brands are long-term partnerships, so like I have a feeling of like how I know I want it to be edited. And then plus like a lot of these brands usually need the content in by like Wednesday or Thursday, and she usually gives me a finished YouTube video by like Friday night or Saturday morning, so that really wouldn't work. And plus I genuinely like editing content. Like you know, it's a bit time consuming, but that's a part of content creation that I love. Somebody said, how do I maintain confidence on days that I'm not feeling it? Now, I think this is a very kind of deeply personal question, because there are things that I'm gonna mention that are gonna be like, why does that make you feel happy? Why does that make you feel confident? Why does that make you feel like that girl? Because there are just certain things that I don't know why necessarily, but that just elicit some type of feeling within me that brings me back to baseline. And a lot of times those things are kind of low effort things that I can do for myself with fast results. So if I'm kind of having body image confidence issues, it's gonna sound silly. Again, this is just works for me. I will do a castor oil pack because I know I will wake up with a flatter stomach. I will put on an outfit that I've kind of like been putting on off for a special event, or you know, a top that I'm saving for this and that, and I will wear it to go run errands. I'll have a day for myself. I don't save my outfits specifically for special events. You know, I put them on for me. Obviously, I do a lot of positive affirmation work, so my internal dialogue is constant. You know, I do have my days where it's just like, oh, I don't like what I look in the mirror. And I'll be like, Jasmine, no, don't say that. You look beautiful. You look great. I mean, I'll literally point things out on myself physically, and then I'll even like commend myself, and I was like, look how you just like turned that around. Like a couple of years ago, you would have just kind of wallowed in it. Like, look how far you've come. Like, I will literally talk to myself. Sometimes improving your confidence is just maybe reaching out to that friend you haven't seen in a while and doing a good girls' night. I think we underestimate the power of getting dressed, having a little get ready mocktail or cocktail, meeting with your friends, yapping, gossiping, getting a couple drinks, maybe going to a lounge afterwards, and in bed by 12. I promise you, your confidence will elevate. And if you're still looking to have friends, do all of that and then go and then sit at a bar by yourself. Don't have any expectations, you know, give yourself maybe an hour time limit and revel in the exciting possibility that you might meet a good girlfriend. Maybe somebody's thinking along the same lines of you, or maybe, you know, a girl kind of showed up early for her date, or she's the first of her friend group to get there and you all strike up a conversation. You never know if you just literally leave your house. And again, you can put a time limit on it. You don't have to stay forever. You can literally just be like, I'm just literally gonna do this for an hour. I'm gonna take some cute pictures of myself, cute selfies, and I'm gonna go home. But you never know what ends up happening and how much your confidence, once you pour into yourself physically, you know, you're testing yourself, your friendship making skills, you never know what could happen by just going out. Somebody said, how am I enjoying Jersey City? I also got another question like why I chose Jersey City over New York. Well, I think very, very high level. I have been in Atlanta for 10 years now. You can't take me from Atlanta and place me in Manhattan. It just like, that causes me even more anxiety. Like, I don't necessarily like being on top of people, but I like that environment. I like having access to that environment, but I like living outside of it. Like when I was in Atlanta, I lived in like Chamblee, Brookhaven area. Like I didn't live in Buckhead, I didn't live in Midtown, but I lived like 15 minutes from Buckhead. I lived like 20 minutes from Midtown. So at the end of the night, I could always just go home. And that's kind of what I was looking for when I moved here. I was like, where is some place that has a lot of parks, you know, was like family friendly, some place that I felt safe, some place that had quick access into Manhattan, into New York, but then also like had all of my needs in terms of an apartment. Like I love an amenity. I love a lot of natural light. And honestly, Jersey City was 10-15 minutes via path into New York. Same price as like New York and Brooklyn and everything like that, but I think you got more for your money. I felt really safe here. I loved downtown Hoboken. I thought it was so cute. And you know, the apartments were still expensive, but at least I could kind of justify a little bit. It's like, okay, yeah, like I'm paying that much for a bi-level loft, like fine. It literally takes me so fast to get into the city, and I love where I live. I love that I'm able to just walk my dog, and there's so many parks and so many kids and things to do. Like it makes me feel good. I think I 1000% made the right choice. Plus, there's cheaper taxes over here. They asked a really good question. They said, when you think about all areas of wellness, how important are friendships to me? Here's the thing about me. I am an only child. So by default, I grew up alone, you know, and I had two very hardworking parents, you know, like they came home from a very young age. I've been staying alone by myself. You know, they came home late, like late for a kid, you know, they came at like 7 or, you know, late for me. So I've always kind of been alone. And when you're like that and you grow up like that, you don't fear being alone. But then when you grow up as an adult, sometimes you don't place as much importance on, you know, building new friendships because you're like, I'm fine by myself. And that ended up being, you know, detrimental, I feel like, to your glow up journey when you're so fine being alone. But I feel like a lot of us deep down, you know, crave those kind of deeper relationships. It's so interesting with me because it's not hard for me to make friends. You know, people are actually naturally gravitated towards me. I've had people come up to me and like literally share their lifelong secrets and stories and journeys just because I have that kind of, you know, welcoming presence. But it is hard for people, I feel like, to get deeper with me. I mean, I don't really like kind of let them. And also it's just hard making friends as an adult. So I think it is super, super, super important, and it is something that I'm working on, kind of like, I don't have a problem making new friends. My issue is nurturing new friendships, you know, reaching out, scheduling things, scheduling different activities, you know, checking in, you know, sending those funny reels or that funny like TikTok. Like that's the thing that I feel like I need work on, is nurturing a new friendship. Because, you know, sometimes I'm like, I have my friends. I have my friends from Spelman. I have my friends, you know, from childhood. I have my boyfriend. I have my friends when I moved here. But then I meet these amazing, you know, people, and, you know, it just takes time to nurture those friendships. And I really do want to, because I know the feeling of just kind of having good girlfriends around you. I have met so many amazing women just moving here. I feel like it's gotten me out of the house a little bit more, but I need to do better at nurturing, I feel like, on my glow up journey. My phone says it's about to overheat, so I'm quickly gonna do my brows. I use the Got To Be Glued 2-in-1 eyebrow gel, and then it's kind of hiding from me right now, but I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills, this one, brow definer in granite. So I'm gonna do that, let my camera cool a little bit, and then I'll be back. Okay, welcome back. Brows are done. Somebody said, what is my current philosophy on life? I actually really love this question. Thank you so much for, you know, asking and caring about how I'm looking at life right now. It's so interesting because I didn't realize this until, you know, it started to come up in my relationship, you know, work, family. I feel like when my dad passed away, the little girl in me like went into hiding. I feel like she like went into the closet and just like hid herself. And I feel like adult Jazz kind of had to step in and like protect her. I feel like a version of myself, a protector, was born in that moment. And honestly, I feel like that little girl kind of like in that cupboard, in that closet that kind of like went away, you know, it hasn't felt safe for a really, really long time for her to come out. Especially, you know, when you're in toxic relationships or you're with men or partners that make you feel like you're not anything. Like it makes her go further and further, you know, into herself. I'm finally at a point now that I feel like that little girl inside of me like peeked her head up, like peeked her head out of it and was like, are we safe now? Are we safe? And I feel like the whole message is going from surviving to thriving, going from toxic relationships to healthy relationships, going from, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life to I feel very, very good, the life that I created. Going from I hate my apartment to I love my apartment every single time I come home. Going from, you know, I don't like this about my skin, I don't like this about my body, to being like, I feel good, I feel comfortable. And I'm finding when kind of the little girl comes out in me, the kind of joy, the more vulnerable parts of me, she's very, very sensitive, and I can get very hurt very quickly because I feel like I'm in this transition of softening, because that protector in me is not needed in this part of my life right now. It's kind of get hard for me to feel safe, to feel like, okay, we're good. Like this response, this person saying this to you, this person, that's not what that means. That's a protector in you being like, no, shut it all down, like protect my inner child. But I think now, like, my nervous system is like, it's okay. It's okay. You can soften up. You can, you know, be vulnerable. You don't have to take this and that so personally. You're not going to lose this all, you know. You don't have to be on high defense. I feel like I am in the process of softening. Like, I know a lot of you are like soft girl life, like associate me with soft girl life. And I feel like that's because I have all the material etchings of soft girl life, you know, my apartment, my car, going to Pilates. But I think emotionally, you know, once I kind of got all those things and I started healing my skin and my gut health and everything, I feel like this is the first point in my life that I am able to emotionally and mentally and spiritually soften and bring my inner child out a little bit, like reparent her almost, because she's been hidden for so long. So I'm learning to soften up. And that doesn't, you know, I feel like I'm a very feminine woman and stuff like that. I don't mean in that way, but I think just emotionally, I've been having to almost reparent, soften myself, change my affirmations, what I tell myself day to day, my self-concept. Healing is so ghetto, but it's also so necessary. It's a constant thing. I've kind of gotten away this idea that I'm going to be this healed version of me. Not in a negative way, but just understanding that there's a lot of layers to me, and there's a lot of things that I have shoved down that are coming up now that I feel safer now. And it is okay to take those things, you know, day by day, moment by moment, situations by situation, and reparent and heal that version of me that had to deal with it. It's okay to come out. So I feel like that is kind of my philosophy in life right now. I don't know if that's the correct answer, but it's softening. I feel like I'm in a very softening, emotionally part of my life right now. Someone said, what is my opinion on sex before marriage? You gotta try it before you buy it. That's easy. Someone said, I'm in my early 20s. Is there any advice you have for femininity and leveling up? First of all, I feel like my entire channel, you know, that's why not what I'm here for. All of my glow up diaries, all of my advice videos, they're all sprinkled with leveling up content. Now, I love that, you know, you're interested in femininity and softening, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of the things, because I didn't really start doing that until 25, 26. And as I've said before, I'm still kind of, you know, softening in certain areas. I think, and maybe this is just because I'm a visual kind of person, like it has to happen physically in my life for me to internalize it mentally and emotionally. But I think the first thing is choosing a typically feminine hobby. Not only does this allow you to meet like-minded women, which is also just very powerful being surrounded by women. But it also allows you to have a hobby, have something outside of work, have something outside of friendships. So whether that is Pilates, whether that is tennis, whether that is flower arranging, whether that is baking, whether that is horseback riding, whether, you know, whatever it might be, whether that's sewing, whatever kind of hobby makes you feel girly and that girl and makes you soften a little bit, then that is not the hobby for you, but that's something that you can physically kind of see your femininity manifest into that. Now, is femininity wearing pinks and purples or whatever? No. I will say though, once I started to soften up in my femininity, I used to hate pink. My boyfriend and I think my life has made me like pink again. I saw this TikTok the other day and it was like, how did you know, your boyfriend was the one? And her answer was like, I started to like pink again. And I think what she basically meant is she started to soften. She started to feel, safe, her like inner child. So I think to that aspect, you need to find things that make you feel feminine. You need to find the clothes and the colors that evoke. You got to really listen to your body. All of the feminine content that I watch personally is very much on feminine energy, what you exude, the confidence. It's not pinks and purples and this and that. It is that aura and that confidence of, nurturing and going with the flow. I have a few femininity videos on my page if you want to check them out. But find a feminine hobby, introduce yourself to whoever is, at that hobby, compliment them, invest in that hobby, consume some feminine content, start noticing the things that you wear that make you feel confident, that make you feel sexy, that make you feel like you can take on the world. And that goes for your fragrances, that goes for your body lotion. You can even start having a feminine self-care night once a week, where you're putting on a feminine YouTube video, you're taking a bubble bath or a long shower, you are honoring your body by rubbing in certain body lotions or body oils. Maybe you watch like a chick flick or an action movie, something that makes you feel alive. And you do this for yourself at least once a week. Those are my immediate tips, but I have more. I'll link them down below. Someone said, how did I become successful? I think different people have different versions of success. The first time that I felt quote unquote successful, the first time that I felt quote unquote successful is when I got accepted into Spelman. The next time is when I graduated, or the next time is when I became an AKA. The next time is when I graduated from Spelman. The next time is when I got into law school. And then I think the next time is when I internally made the decision to become a full-time content creator. Now, if you're talking about how did I become a successful content creator, so my first kind of videos when I was just uploading back to back on TikTok were like aesthetic videos. I never used to talk in any of my videos. And I had some good traction. I had people that were very like-minded, like things like that, I would share my day-to-day life. It wasn't till I started being vulnerable and authentic on the internet, which is a very scary thing to do, to be honest, that people started relating to me, started relating to my story about pivoting, leaving law school, started relating to my story about, my gut health, gaining weight, losing weight, my skin breaking out. I was just vulnerable about all of the shit that I've been through in my life. Everything from grief, everything from toxic relationships, whatever it might be. I just started being vulnerable and people felt attached to that. And I was consistent with my vulnerability. I was consistent with uploading. I started getting paid from that. I was living off my student loans, so I didn't really use any of my influencer money. So by the time that I graduated business school, I had like a little pot of money. I upgraded my apartment. I started going out more. I started living my life, continued to record it, and I honestly just started making more and more and more money from it, from influencing, brand deals, now speaking engagements. Honestly, this influencer stuff, I'm not even trying to brag, it feels effortless to me. It feels like this was what I was always supposed to do. I feel like in my purpose, and I feel like because I feel in my purpose, things flow to me effortlessly. Like I truly feel like I'm in my mode. I'm in, the career that I'm supposed to go. So why wouldn't things flow to me in abundance, whether it be financial opportunities, friendships, management? Like why wouldn't it all flow into abundance because I am in what I think is the right space in my life right now. And you know, I think it just goes through periods of popping out and being humble, popping out and being humble. You know, saving my money to create a 6 months to a year's worth of rent to get this apartment so that when I moved here, I'm not living check to check. It's coming from a pool of money. Saving up my money, not getting a new car when I started to make a little bit of influencer money, but driving my Nissan around as long as I possibly could, and then I got a Porsche. You know, some of the designer things that I have, again, I saved up my money. I put money aside in Japan, went to Japan, and you know, I blew a bag, but it was a thoughtful bag. I'd been, you know, I got classic pieces. I wanted those pieces. I always said, you know, when I make it to this milestone or when I make it to this, like this is the bag that I want for this. Social media is like what we want you to see at the end of the day. But I don't think you're seeing any kind of saving humble points. And I'm not gonna do this much DoorDash. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, this, this. And then I think you only see the moments of pop out. And you think that that's my entire life. Not that anybody's like accusing me of anything or being like, oh, you get whatever you want. But I don't think I necessarily show the saving, the humble, the, you know, sacrifice kind of parts of it. So yeah, I can understand how it seems that everything is just this, this, this. And it is when I want you to see it and after the hard work has been put in. Somebody said, what is advice that I would give to new content creators to be successful? I would pick one platform and you know, 1 to 2 platforms. I think TikTok and Instagram are probably the easiest because you can repurpose your content pretty easily between the both of them. I think it's kind of harder to grow on Instagram, but it is somewhat some of the most rewarding when you do. And I will also say that in terms of like actually connecting with brands and brand visibility, it's still Instagram right now, to be honest with y'all. I know TikTok is very, you know, it's the thing right now, but if you're really wanting to connect with some big name brands, get on some PR lists, then it's gonna be Instagram every single time. Personally, I started off on TikTok. I was super, super consistent. At that time, I was only uploading, you know, once a day. Nowadays, I think you have to like upload like 3 times a day, which is, I think is absolutely crazy. I think it's kind of hard to start off on YouTube, but if you really go ham on doing your YouTube, those followers will follow you anywhere. And I think when we talk about the most rewarding platform, in my opinion, not financially at first, but just in terms of community, it's always gonna be YouTube. Like y'all know that right here, y'all are my sisters. You know, we have thoughtful conversations. I feel like y'all know me the best. Sometimes I feel like on TikTok, it's very just like, not ad, but it's very just kind of fast paced and, you know, reviews and this and that. And, you know, I've started to do more vlogs, but y'all know I come on here every single Sunday, whether it's a vlog, whether it's a sit down video, whether it's a get ready with me like this, and we have a good discussion over here. I feel like that's kind of hard to get from, you know, short form content. So I would focus on that. I would be consistent. I would choose, you don't necessarily need a niche. I probably create content for myself, but then also you want to pick 3 to 4 influencers that inspire you, not just kind of like the feeling, but also like you like their editing style, you like the way that they talk, you like their video ideas, and you need to study them. You need to study like typically how long are their videos? Or do they have captions on their videos? What do the text and the screen looks like? And you literally need, you don't copy and paste, but you get inspired, you film a video very, very similar to that, and you add in your own thing. Maybe that content creator didn't add a voiceover and it was just, you know, music, but you would have really liked somebody to explain why they were using that product. So in your video, you film a similar video, but you do a voiceover to it. And you continue to tweet, you continue to respond to comments, you continue to repost your short form videos on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts. You're consistent with it. You're trying out different forms of content, and you keep nurturing your community with high quality content, quality in terms of how it looks and quality in terms of what you're saying, with consistency and a series. A series is the quickest way to, you know, build community, but also have people coming back. Whether, you know, you're going on a 30-day juice cleanse, whether, you know, you're trying 2 weeks of solid core, whether you're doing a glow up series, whatever it might be, create a series. Somebody said, how was my life before YouTube? Kind of the same. I mean, I think, so I mentioned this in my last video, but I know I have a lot of new followers. So I went to law school and I went to business school. I have a lot of student loans. So my YouTube AdSense goes only solely to student loans. That is the purpose of YouTube. You know, from my brand deals, obviously that kind of, you know, YouTube really is like a bill payer right now, if that makes sense. So I use my YouTube, Google AdSense for my student loans, and then the brand deals that I get on YouTube honestly are you know, the brand deals I get on TikTok and Instagram are triple, quadruple the size of what I get on brand deals here on YouTube. Granted, they are long-term partnerships, so it's a little bit different. It's usually like 3 months or 6 months on YouTube, but those brand deals pay for like my car note, pay for, you know, a little chunk of my rent, you know, Benji's pet insurance, my health insurance. Like YouTube is like my bill payer right now. I still don't feel like what I make on YouTube, I could maintain the life that I have now. I could just like cover it. I'd be living check to check. So there was no kind of difference between now versus YouTube. YouTube just kind of pays my overarching bills, you know? And then I think Instagram and YouTube is how I maintain my life. Like when I want to go out to eat, or when I am saving up for a bag, or when I'm saving up for something, or, you know, when I want to pay for, you know, a nice flight, a nice hotel, travel, like that's what that is used for. But obviously having something that pays those kind of reoccurring bills has allowed me to, you know, take those nice trips, get that nice hotel, treat myself to, you know, some new workout clothes and a private Pilates instructor and things like that. It's definitely given me the freedom to do that. Someone said, what supplements do I take to help with energy? I think the main ones are iron, probably for energy. I find that when my gut health isn't out of whack, I have more energy. So the Ritual Symbiotic Plus is great for energy. I don't really take anything that is so energy focused. I used to be very, very big on my pre-workout, but instead I choose like a carb kind of heavy snack before I work out. I heard that on the Mel Robbins podcast that women should be, you know, eating a little snack before they work out instead of, you know, a pre-workout that is filled with different stuff. So yeah, I think it's mainly just iron, drinking my water. I also find it really beneficial. I mean, it works very well because I have a dog, but taking my dog out on a midday walk, just being outside, being grounded, that also kind of refreshes me. Somebody asked me, how is my new place coming along? I am finally done. My interior designer is finally done at decorating my place. I absolutely love it. I love coming home. I love my home. I will link her down below. She's been absolutely, you know, incredible in designing this. She definitely has a talent and an eye. Probably, I'm just like, it's like little stuff right now. You know what I mean? It's like a picture light. It's some decor. I have like, you know, those empty areas that I was sharing with you in my glow up diaries. Probably, you know, finishing up those, but let me know if I probably will film a final apartment tour over on my Instagram or TikTok, because I feel like I've done an unfurnished, I've done a furnished, you know, apartment tour on here. I've been neglecting, you know, short form, you know, in that aspect. So as of right now, I love my space. Okay, let us move on to hair. Honestly, I did the sock curls last night, and I'm gonna do like a half up, half down for this brand dinner. So there's not much to kind of curl or, you know, put heat on. And I'm just gonna put some wax on my edges. So, you know, I like that kind of effortless, like loose curl look. So that is what we're gonna do right now, and we're gonna answer some more questions. Okay, y'all, I switched out of my robe. That one was like dirty from makeup. Like I said, I don't have much to do with my hair. Like you see, it's in soft waves. I did go ahead and just quickly press out my edges. I'm wearing a really whimsical kind of like dress. So I'm gonna do my classic half up, half down, but first we need to lay these edges. So let's do like 3 more questions. Then I'll definitely have to make a part 2. So somebody said, what's the best way to ease into the diet part of glowing up? I hate the word diet. I almost said glow up. I love the word glow up. I hate the word diet. Like, I hate being restricted in life. I hate, you know, the word budget. I hate the word diet. Like, I hate that I just like, maybe it just goes against my nature. Like, I want to do whatever I want to do. I have found, like, I don't know what happened, ever since I hit 28, my body just holds on to food like it never has before. Like my metabolism just like shot out the window. I'm finding it like that I have to work 3 times as hard to like maintain my body than I did when I was like 25, which is like crazy because I really feel like this happened overnight. So I've had to pay a little bit more attention to, you know, my diet as part of my glow up journey. Like my glow up journey never really I gained a whole bunch of like weight and I didn't like how I looked at the beginning of my glow up journey, but that was more so like bloating. And I think now it's just like nutrition. So a couple of things that I have been doing to kind of like be more comfortable in my body is I use Factor, but I use the Calorie Smart. So all of the meals are kind of a little bit more basic, but it keeps me within a calorie deficit. But that calorie deficit is really nutritious, good meals to me. I also find, for me personally, I prefer to have most of my calories in little snacks throughout the day than really big meals. So I will really only have like breakfast and dinner, and then I will have like 2 or 3 snacks throughout the day. I've also been testing some supplements, but I haven't been testing them long enough to kind of give y'all a full picture on them. But I think once you kind of, you know, start to track your, you know, nutrition for a week and your calories for a week, then you just start to intuitively eat. And then like with everything, I started romanticizing it. Like once I saw some like results from, you know, eating in a deficit, increasing my cardio, then I really just started romanticizing it. Like actually it was very fun for me to create a little cheese and fruit charcuterie board or a little fruit bowl. I actually found it, you know, kind of very freeing that I was able to, you know, have a little bit more control over my nutrition and eat a little bit more intuitively. And I started to change my relationship to food to be like, how am I fueling my body for my glow up journey instead of viewing it as restricting? So I think the easiest thing if you're trying to get on a diet is maybe not do a specific diet, but maybe order like a meal prep service like Factor that makes it, you know, kind of takes the dredge out of the word diet. Or, you know, there's so many of these kind of like boutique, you know, small businesses that will do your meal prep for you, and you can like tell them your goals, and that keeps you within, you know, a calorie deficit, which is in and of itself is a diet. And I stopped seeing it as restricting myself, and instead it's almost like glass half full, glass half empty. Glass half full is restricting myself, diets, like whatever. Glass half full is nourishing my body. Like, how am I making lifestyle changes to actually speed up my glow up journey and to improve my life and my energy levels and everything like that? I hate when it's like one hair that's out of place and now you have to redo the half up, half down. I also just like love this hairstyle for K-tips because it keeps the hair off of my face, but it looks so elegant and classy. Would I ever open a social club? No, probably not. Like I mentioned, one of my goals is to actually franchise and own a Pilates studio and, you know, have events at it and stuff, and just like a safe space for girls and women to, you know, find themselves and to glow up and to create, you know, my own kind of sense of community. That would be my version of a social club. I do kind of want to host like a wellness event of some sort. I really enjoyed myself when I went to Iceland with Paradise and Vibe. Like I would love to create something like that. My dress is blue, so I'm using a dark blue claw clip to clip up the hair tonight. So that's the only thing that I can really see myself doing. All right, let's do one last question. This is a good one. How did you let go of your past self to become your future self? I feel like like everything, I reframed letting go. I don't think you ever truly let go of something. I think it's the practice of letting go. I think every single day you have to instill different practices to soften and to, you know, accept and heal that version of that person that went through this and that. I realized that my higher self, my future self, the self that I saw in my head so fiercely and so vividly was only because of the lessons that I learned in my darkest moments, in the valleys of my life, in the roughest parts. Like, the only way that, you know, my higher self was able to have all this money is because my lowest self had nothing and had to learn to budget and to save and be humble. The only reason that my higher self, my future self's body looks like that is because the roughest version of myself was sick of it and got into the gym and started to eat right. So I don't think that you should necessarily let go of your past self. If anything, you should use her. You should use all of the lessons that she's been through. She is wise. She is strong. She is, you know, learning from her mistakes. And it's almost like 3 different versions of you: your past, present, and your future. But it is this almost like club within yourself where it's like, I accept what happened to me. I accept what I've gone through. I accept what I've been through. I also accept where I'm at now, because a version of me right now, even just watching this YouTube video, even just watching glow up content, you know, wasn't watching that 5 years ago, wasn't even interested in content like this or bettering herself. So I honor this version. And I also honor the version of the place that I'm trying to go. And I honor that she's kind of still working through stuff as well. But I know that what I'm working on now is fueling the life that she has, and I want to give that to her. But also, she's motivating me as well because I see it in my head. So I don't think you necessarily should let go of it, you know? I don't think you should start from scratch, you know? I don't think you should let go of who you are. I think you should let it inform, you know, your future self. I think that's the only way to really kind of go about it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am about to go get all done up. I'll insert a picture of what I look like right here, but I'm running a little bit behind because I was yapping to you. But again, thank you so much, HomoGlow, for sponsoring today's video and supporting this chit chat yap session. Again, you can click on this QR code and go to the link down in my description. That is gonna get you your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. Highly would recommend the Forever Clean membership. I will see you in the next video. I am going to film a part 2 to this because obviously I have more questions to get through. So let me know what kind of form you would want that in, like a sit down video. Do you like these kind of chit chat videos? Just let me know down in the comments below, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, girl.